Hello YouTube and welcome to this week's Hipster Highlight. I know I promised you that this one would be about a movie, but I just read the most fabulous book you have never heard of. That's because it's not in print yet. So, yeah, I know people. So I thought instead of talking about a movie, I would talk about this fabulous book, which is coming out, I believe, September this year it is coming out. So it is called Undead by Kirsty McKay. And just a little bit about the author. I do believe she's from England. Yes, but she now lives in Boston. And yeah, so it's from the perspective of a teenage girl. And she was born and raised in England, but she had to move to the United States for some reason. And then ended up moving back, and now everyone treats her like an outsider in England because they're like, oh, you have an American accent. So it's kind of interesting on that perspective. But on top of having to deal with wanting to fit in and all of this stuff, of course it's a zombie apocalypse book. Now what's interesting about this is it doesn't start in the middle of the apocalypse like a lot of the books do. It starts like a regular day with just a bunch of kids on a school trip to go skiing. So the book starts, she's on the bus, and she's decided that when they take a rest stop at the nearest cafe, that she's not going to go inside. She packed herself a sandwich. Well, she's sitting on the bus with this guy, Smitty, who's the class punk / alcoholic / druggie. He was not allowed to go in the cafe, so she's sitting on the bus with him, and all of a sudden, Alice, the class cheerleader, I do believe it's her on the cover, she comes running up to the bus door, slamming on the door, and says, everyone's dead. She was in the bathroom, she comes out of the bathroom, and everyone's dead. So, they all think she's just crazy. But they look in the cafe, and yeah, everyone's kind of dead. So, that's just the first chapter. Yeah. And I really like the way it's written. There's a lot of stuff that if you're into pop culture you'll get. They reference Double Rainbow Guy. They reference Rocky Horror a couple times. They just reference all these things to make it more interesting, not like it's a different world, and it keeps it very this is taking place on the planet Earth. It's not like some future 10 million years out. It is happening in the here and now. So, but there's a lot of turns in it. There's a lot of it's almost like in sections where first they're here and a whole series of events happens, and then they're here and a whole series of events happen. It's not just they stay in one spot the entire book. They're constantly moving. Things are constantly happening, and it's really well written. I mean, even though this is the uncorrected proof, really the only things I saw were just technical typos, the thing where it's the triangle, #break, triangle. Yeah, that's the only thing I saw. That was, yeah. The grammar is great, which is always, I hate when books are poorly written. But yeah, it is a really, really good book, and when it comes out in September, I highly recommend reading it. It is a really quick read. I usually despise zombie books, but I blew through this in 2 days. When I finally got to sit down and read it, I just finished it 10 minutes ago. What else to say? Oh yeah, she's working on a sequel called Undead, which is kind of interesting, considering the way the book ends, which I'm not going to tell you. You have to read yourself. But yeah, it's a really, really, really good book. I can't stress that enough. Look, cheerleader holding an axe. It's dripping zombie blood. I don't know. It's a really good book. I mean, when I looked at the cover, I thought it was going to be something like Lollipop Chainsaw. But it's really good. So, read this book. If you have half a brain cell, you will read this book. So, yeah. Next week, I promise, tune into Hipster Highlights, and I will be talking about this fabulous movie that I keep talking about and telling you about. That is next week. So, have happy stuff. I don't know.